Welcome to the Sleep and Learn channel. We invite you to listen to interesting scientific facts that will help you fall asleep gently and, at the same time, learn something new. Relax, close your eyes, and let a calm voice guide you into the world of knowledge and sweet sleep. The silent architecture of trees. Trees are among the most enduring and quietly sophisticated life forms on Earth. Though rooted in place, they are far from passive. A single tree is a complex structure of vascular pathways, chemical signals, seasonal rhythms, and patient growth patterns that may extend across centuries. At the heart of every tree lies a system of transport known as xylem and phloem. The xylem carries water and dissolved minerals upward from the roots to the leaves, sometimes lifting moisture over 100 meters against gravity. This movement is driven not by pumps, but by evaporation from leaf surfaces, a process called transpiration. As water molecules exit through microscopic openings known as stomata, they pull additional water upward in a continuous column. The tree's height is therefore supported by a delicate balance of cohesion, tension, and atmospheric exchange. The phloem performs the complementary task of distributing sugars produced during photosynthesis. In the presence of sunlight, leaves convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. That glucose travels through the phloem to nourish roots, growing buds, and developing seeds. In this way, each leaf participates in feeding the entire organism. Growth in trees occurs in layers. Just beneath the bark lies the cambium, a thin ring of actively dividing cells. Each year, the cambium produces new xylem inward and new phloem outward. The result is a series of concentric rings visible when a trunk is cut. These rings form a record of environmental conditions. Wider rings often indicate favorable years, with abundant moisture and warmth, while narrow rings reflect drought or stress. The study of these patterns, known as dendrochronology, allows scientists to reconstruct climate histories spanning thousands of years. Forests are not merely collections of individual trees. They are structured communities. The canopy forms the uppermost layer, capturing sunlight and sheltering life below. Beneath it lies the understory, composed of smaller trees and shade-tolerant shrubs. The forest floor supports mosses, seedlings, fungi, and decomposers. Each layer has distinct light conditions, temperature variations, and ecological roles. Roots extend far beyond what is visible. Many trees form symbiotic relationships with fungi in the soil. These fungal networks increase the effective root surface area, allowing trees to access nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen more efficiently. In exchange, the fungi receive carbohydrates. This mutualism strengthens the entire forest, creating subtle connections among neighboring trees. Seasonal change shapes the life cycle of deciduous trees. As daylight shortens in autumn, chlorophyll production slows, revealing pigments such as carotenoids and anthocyanins. Leaves display hues of gold, amber, and crimson before detaching. Nutrients are reabsorbed into branches and trunks, preserving resources for spring. Evergreen species, by contrast, retain their needles year-round, conserving energy in colder climates where growing seasons are brief. Even in stillness, trees respond to their environment. They bend toward light in a process called phototropism. They thicken their trunks in response to persistent wind. Some species release chemical compounds when grazed by insects, signaling nearby plants to increase defensive production. Though silent, these responses reveal an ongoing dialogue between organism and habitat. To observe a tree closely is to encounter a living structure shaped by physics, chemistry, and time. It stands as both organism and ecosystem, a vertical landscape inhabited by birds, insects, lichens, and microorganisms. In its calm persistence, the tree offers a lesson in balance. Rooted yet adaptive, steady yet responsive, enduring yet continuously renewed. The intelligence of forest communities. A forest is a collective organism composed of countless interdependent lives. While each tree maintains its own structure and physiology, the forest as a whole functions through networks of cooperation, competition, and shared resources. Beneath the soil surface, roots intertwine with fungal filaments, forming mycorrhizal associations. These networks allow the transfer of nutrients and chemical signals between trees of the same or even different species. Research has demonstrated that mature trees may allocate carbon to younger saplings growing in deep shade. This redistribution enhances the survival of the next generation, contributing to long-term stability. Competition for light shapes forest architecture. Taller trees extend their crowns to capture sunlight, casting shade below. Shade-tolerant species adapt with broader leaves and slower growth rates, maximizing limited energy. When an older tree falls, due to age, wind, or disease, a gap opens in the canopy. Sunlight floods the forest floor, triggering rapid growth among waiting seedlings. These natural disturbances create cycles of renewal without external intervention. Chemical communication also occurs above ground. Certain species release volatile organic compounds when attacked by herbivorous insects. Nearby plants detect these compounds and preemptively strengthen their chemical defenses. This capacity for anticipatory response contributes to the resilience of plant communities. Forests influence climate at both local and global scales. Through photosynthesis, trees absorb carbon dioxide, storing carbon within wood and soil. Large forest systems act as carbon reservoirs, moderating atmospheric composition. At the same time, transpiration releases water vapor, cooling air and contributing to cloud formation. The presence of extensive forests can therefore stabilize regional weather patterns. Old-growth forests provide particularly complex habitats. Fallen logs decompose slowly, offering shelter to insects and fungi. Standing dead trees, known as snags, support cavity-nesting birds and mammals. Mosses and lichens colonize bark surfaces, creating microhabitats within the larger system. Diversity at every scale contributes to ecological balance. The quiet atmosphere of a forest often evokes calm in human observers. The filtered light, rhythmic rustling of leaves, and earthy scent of soil collectively create a multi-sensory environment. Studies in environmental psychology suggest that time spent in forested areas can reduce stress levels and enhance cognitive clarity. The structured complexity of the forest may align with patterns that human perception finds restorative. Forests evolve slowly. Species composition shifts over decades as environmental conditions change. Pioneer species colonize open spaces, followed by shade-tolerant trees that establish more permanent canopies. This process, known as ecological succession, demonstrates the gradual progression from disturbance to maturity. In its layered structure and cooperative networks, the forest represents a model of equilibrium. Growth occurs not in isolation, but within relationship. Stability emerges not from rigidity, but from adaptive diversity. The forest's calm is therefore not static. It is the visible surface of continuous interaction unfolding over time. The memory, defense, and longevity of plants. Plants exist within a rhythm of time that is slower than human perception, yet deeply responsive to environmental change. Though they lack nervous systems or brains, trees and other plants possess sophisticated biochemical mechanisms that allow them to record experiences, adjust to stress, and survive across decades or even millennia. One of the most visible records of plant memory is found within tree rings. Each year, a tree adds a new layer of growth just beneath its bark. Variations in temperature, sunlight, and soil moisture influence the thickness and density of each ring. Periods of drought produce narrower bands. Favorable seasons result in broader growth. Through the study of these rings, scientists can reconstruct climate histories extending thousands of years. In this way, a tree becomes both a living organism and a chronological archive. Beyond physical records, plants also demonstrate forms of physiological memory. When exposed to recurring stress, such as cold temperatures, insect activity, or limited nutrients, certain species adjust their internal chemistry. Future responses to similar conditions may occur more efficiently. This phenomenon, sometimes described as priming, allows plants to strengthen defensive reactions based on prior exposure. Though subtle, this adaptive tuning contributes to long-term survival. Defense strategies among plants are remarkably diverse. Some trees produce bitter or toxic compounds in their leaves and bark to discourage herbivores. Others develop thorns or thick protective tissues. When insects begin feeding, certain species release volatile organic compounds into the air. These chemical signals can trigger defensive changes in neighboring plants, creating a coordinated response across sections of a forest. What appears quiet on the surface is often a complex exchange of information. Longevity is another extraordinary feature of plant life. While many organisms measure their lifespan in years or decades, certain trees persist for centuries. Some ancient bristlecone pines, for example, have lived for more than 4,000 years. Their twisted trunks and weathered bark reflect adaptation to harsh mountain climates. Slow growth in nutrient-poor soils often results in dense, resilient wood that resists decay. Patience, rather than speed, becomes the key to endurance. Seasonal dormancy further illustrates plant adaptation. In temperate climates, deciduous trees enter a resting phase as daylight shortens and temperatures decline. Metabolic processes slow, growth pauses, and leaves are shed after nutrients are reabsorbed. This dormancy protects delicate tissues from frost damage and conserves energy. With the return of warmth and longer days, buds formed months earlier gradually unfold into leaves and flowers. Even seeds embody remarkable foresight. Many remain dormant in soil for extended periods, awaiting specific triggers such as temperature shifts, light exposure, or mechanical disturbance. This capacity ensures that germination occurs under favorable conditions, increasing the likelihood of survival. The study of plant longevity and resilience reveals an underlying principle. Stability emerges from flexibility. Trees bend with wind rather than resist it rigidly. Roots extend around obstacles. Growth adjusts to available light. Over time, these incremental responses shape landscapes and ecosystems. To observe an ancient forest is to witness living time. Each trunk carries silent testimony to seasons endured, stresses overcome, and adaptations refined. In their steady persistence, trees demonstrate that endurance need not be dramatic. It can be quiet, gradual, and profoundly resilient. A calm continuity woven into the fabric of the natural world. Roots, renewal, and the hidden cycles of forest life. Beneath every forest lies a world rarely seen, yet essential to life above ground. Roots form vast subterranean systems that anchor trees, absorb nutrients, and quietly shape the stability of entire ecosystems. While trunks and leaves capture attention, it is the hidden architecture below the soil that sustains long-term growth and renewal. Tree roots extend far beyond the visible canopy. In many species, the root system may spread laterally 2 to 3 times the width of the ground. Fine root hairs increase surface area, allowing efficient absorption of water and dissolved minerals. These structures interact constantly with soil organisms, bacteria, fungi, and microscopic invertebrates, forming a dynamic biological community. Soil itself is not inert matter, but a living matrix composed of minerals, organic particles, air, water, and organisms. Decomposing leaves, fallen branches, and aging trunks gradually transform into humus, enriching the earth with nutrients. This steady recycling ensures that forests sustain themselves over generations. The process of decomposition, though slow and silent, is fundamental to ecological continuity. Roots also contribute to physical stability. In sloped terrain, intertwined root systems bind soil together, reducing erosion and maintaining landscape structure. Forests therefore act as natural stabilizers, protecting hillsides and riverbanks from collapse. Even after trees fall, their decaying roots leave channels within the soil that improve aeration and water infiltration. Regeneration is another remarkable feature of plant life. Many trees produce seeds adapted to specific dispersal strategies. Some rely on wind, releasing lightweight seeds that travel considerable distances. Others produce fruit that attracts animals, which then transport seeds through digestion or movement. In certain species, regeneration occurs vegetatively. New shoots emerge from existing roots or stumps, ensuring continuity even after disturbance. Light plays a decisive role in renewal. When gaps appear in the canopy, sunlight reaches the forest floor, triggering rapid germination among waiting seeds. These openings create microhabitats where young saplings compete and establish themselves. Over time, the canopy closes again, restoring shade and equilibrium. This cycle of disturbance and recovery maintains biodiversity and structural diversity within forests. Seasonal cycles further shape forest rhythms. In spring, root systems resume active absorption as soil temperatures rise. Water transported upward supports the unfolding of leaves formed during the previous year. Throughout summer, growth intensifies, while autumn initiates nutrient withdrawal and preparation for dormancy. Even in winter, roots remain active beneath frozen surfaces whenever soil conditions permit. The hidden half of a tree reveals a profound principle of nature. Stability is grounded in unseen processes. Just as visible foliage depends on invisible roots, the resilience of forests depends on quiet cycles of decay, renewal, and adaptation. In observing these hidden systems, one begins to understand that forests are not static landscapes, but living continuities. Their calm appearance conceals a complex choreography of growth beneath the soil, patient, persistent, and essential to life above. The language of leaves and the diversity of plant forms. Leaves are among the most recognizable and quietly sophisticated structures in nature. Though delicate in appearance, they are the primary sites of energy transformation for most plant life. Within their thin tissues, sunlight is converted into chemical energy through photosynthesis, a process that sustains forests, grasslands, and, indirectly, nearly all animal life. The internal architecture of a leaf reflects efficiency. Veins branch outward in intricate patterns, transporting water and nutrients while providing structural support. These vascular networks often resemble river systems when viewed closely. Their branching geometry maximizes surface coverage while minimizing material use, an example of natural optimization refined over millions of years. Leaf shapes vary widely across species and environments. Broad leaves capture abundant sunlight in temperate forests, where light may be filtered by taller trees. Needle-like leaves, common in coniferous forests, reduce water loss and withstand cold or dry conditions. Thick, waxy leaves in arid regions minimize evaporation, while finely divided leaves may reduce wind resistance or regulate temperature more effectively. The arrangement of leaves on a stem, known as phyllotaxis, often follows mathematical patterns. In many species, leaves are positioned in spirals that correspond to Fibonacci sequences. This arrangement allows each leaf to receive maximum exposure to sunlight without shading those below. Such patterns arise naturally from growth processes at the cellular level, demonstrating how simple biological rules generate complex and ordered forms. Color variation in leaves also carries functional significance. Chlorophyll gives leaves their green hue, absorbing primarily red and blue wavelengths of light. Accessory pigments, such as carotenoids, assist in capturing additional light energy and protecting cells from excess radiation. In autumn, as chlorophyll production declines, these pigments become visible, creating the warm colors associated with seasonal change. Some plants exhibit specialized leaf adaptations. Carnivorous plants, for example, modify leaves into trapping structures to supplement nutrient intake in poor soils. Climbing plants develop tendrils that coil around supports, enabling upward growth toward light. Succulents store water within fleshy leaves, surviving extended dry periods. Each adaptation represents a response to environmental pressures, shaped by gradual evolutionary refinement. Forests display extraordinary botanical diversity within relatively small areas. A single woodland may contain dozens of tree species, each with distinct leaf forms, growth strategies, and ecological roles. Understory plants often possess larger leaves adapted to low light conditions, while canopy species invest in height and branching complexity. Together, these variations create layered habitats that support countless organisms. Observing a forest canopy from below reveals a living mosaic of shapes and textures. Sunlight filters through overlapping leaves, casting dynamic patterns of shadow and light. These shifting patterns influence temperature, moisture, and microclimates on the forest floor. Even subtle changes in leaf density can alter the conditions for seedlings and ground-dwelling species. The study of leaf structure and diversity highlights a central principle of plant life. Form follows function. Each curve, vein, and surface texture reflects adaptation to light, climate, and ecological interaction. In their quiet abundance, leaves represent both individuality and collective harmony. Countless surfaces working simultaneously to capture energy and sustain life. In contemplating the diversity of plant forms, one recognizes that forests are not uniform expanses, but intricate assemblies of variation. Each leaf participates in a broader system of exchange, growth, and renewal. Their calm presence in wind and sunlight conceals an ongoing transformation of light into life, steady, silent, and profoundly sustaining. Reproduction, flowers, and the quiet journey of seeds. Reproduction in plants is a process of remarkable precision and diversity. Unlike animals, plants remain rooted in place, yet they have developed intricate strategies to exchange genetic material and ensure the continuation of their species. Flowers, seeds, and dispersal mechanisms represent some of the most elegant adaptations in the natural world. Flowers serve as reproductive structures in many plant species. Their colors, shapes, and fragrances are not merely decorative, but functional. Petals reflect specific wavelengths of light, sometimes visible only to pollinating insects. Patterns guide visitors toward nectar and pollen, increasing the likelihood of successful transfer between individuals. Within each flower, specialized organs produce pollen and receive it, enabling fertilization. Pollination may occur through wind, insects, birds, or mammals. Wind-pollinated trees, such as many conifers and deciduous species, release vast quantities of lightweight pollen into the air. This method relies on probability and abundance. In contrast, insect-pollinated plants often invest in nectar rewards and vivid coloration to attract precise carriers. Each strategy reflects adaptation to local conditions and ecological relationships. Following fertilization, seeds begin to form. A seed contains an embryonic plant, stored nutrients, and a protective outer coat. This compact structure allows survival through periods of cold, drought, or other unfavorable conditions. Dormancy is a key survival mechanism. Some seeds require exposure to winter temperatures before germination. Others depend on fire, mechanical abrasion, or passage through an animal's digestive system to trigger growth. Seed dispersal ensures that new plants do not compete directly with their parent. Wind-dispersed seeds may carry feathery or winged structures that extend their travel distance. Animal-dispersed seeds are often enclosed within fruits that encourage consumption. After transport, seeds are deposited in new environments where conditions may favor growth. In forest ecosystems, reproduction unfolds at multiple scales simultaneously. Towering canopy trees release seeds that drift downward or outward. Beneath them, understory shrubs produce berries consumed by birds and small mammals. Ground-level plants generate smaller seeds that settle among leaf litter. This layered reproductive activity contributes to biodiversity and structural complexity. Some species reproduce vegetatively in addition to producing seeds. New shoots may arise from roots, stems, or even leaves. This method ensures rapid colonization of suitable areas and provides resilience after disturbance. Forest regeneration following storms or fire often depends on both seed germination and vegetative regrowth. The transformation from seed to seedling is gradual, yet decisive. When moisture, temperature, and light align, metabolic activity resumes within the seed. The root emerges first, anchoring the young plant and absorbing water. Soon after, a shoot extends upward toward light. This sequence reflects a fundamental priority: establish stability before seeking expansion. Plant reproduction reveals a balance between chance and structure. Wind currents, animal movements, and environmental fluctuations introduce variability. Yet underlying biological processes maintain order and continuity. Across seasons and generations, forests renew themselves through these quiet cycles. To observe a flowering meadow or a forest releasing seeds into autumn air is to witness continuity in motion. Each bloom and each seed carries potential shaped by adaptation and time. In their patient unfolding, flowers and seeds embody the enduring rhythm of life, steady, adaptive, and profoundly interconnected within the living landscape.